Many people are going to be in there, but we'll see. I think we're live now. So, what's up, Enok?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Dorian? Okay.
I'm glad you can make it. I'm glad we got you on the old school Logitech webcam instead of the nice Sony, right? That's all good.
Still look sharp. They don't need to know what goes behind the scenes on setting this up.
It's all
Anyways,
good, man. All good. No worries.
All right. So you have me on here so that we can help you with the thumbnail.
Correct.
Okay.
Because my thumbnail game is not strong. I have a few thumbnails that I'm kind of like proud of that I'm like, oh, I did a good job on that thumbnail. But then I got some that just look like hot garbage. I'm actually showing my channel page right now to kind of show some of like the thumbnails that I like and the thumbnails that I don't like. And I do have like a few that I thought I did a good job in, and then I have a few that I know I didn't do a good job in, and I think they've gotten better with time, but occasionally I'll still like release one that I'm just like, that was a lot of effort for a mediocre thumbnail. But like some of my older ones, you can see like I was kind of going with like no text, which they can be hit or miss. Like this one here I liked where I'm pointing down at it, and then like one of my favorite ones that I sent you that I thought was pretty good was my portfolio one, which is this one here where I'm pointing down at my portfolio blurred out, because I thought that was just a good little thumbnail. But you can see like those other ones are just lighting's bad.
As an example, I know.
And yeah, go ahead.
Some of your thumbnails, like you crop the background out, but I know that that's going to take more time for you to, do that extra step. So we want to kind of make it as simple as possible. That way I give you a template that you can reuse, and it's not, you don't spend too much time on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
in your
for.
title, put in your image, and you're good to go.
For sure. And like, for instance, like these two are some of my early ones. And this video right here, the 10 tips, it actually like gets a decent amount of views for an old video. But I mean, look how bad that thumbnail is compared to like other thumbnails that I have. So like, that's going to be one of the first ones that I'm going to swap out for the template that I'm going to do. So,
okay. Yeah, definitely. With a template, man, the main thing is consistency.
For sure. And I'm not going to do a template on everything, but I'm going to do a template on a lot of them. And then I'll probably swap out my free code camp ones for the template. And I guess I'm just going to let you drive a little bit, and sure. I can stop sharing. Do you want me to send you that file? I'll have to look for it real quick. I know I sent it to you recently.
Yeah.
I got it. I can.
Okay.
Do you want me to? You want me to drop
send it over on the Discord? And you said, I know that if I go to your website, Dorian Develops, there's that Miami Vice theme. I know you use that baby blue and pink, and you want to go for that feel, right?
And hold on, let me see. I'm trying to swap over the screens right now. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Just to give viewers an idea of what we're talking about here, which was actually my portfolio. And what's funny about this was you actually helped me with this portfolio back when I made it.
Yeah.
And you actually were the one that helped me with some of the colors, because when I remember, the contrast was not there, and it was very it wasn't easy on the eyes, and you helped me with a few different things on this actual portfolio. So it's kind of funny that we're coming back here, from where I kind of got the color theme from, and the idea of, because I like the Miami Nights, Miami Vice Nights, or whatever they call it. It's like a Miami Heat color theme that they use. And there's a few people in the chat I just want to acknowledge. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Enok's here just helping me out with some thumbnails for my YouTube channel to try to clean those up a bit. If you guys don't know Enok, he has a channel. It's linked in the description. He's a UX UI designer by trade, and also a web developer, graffiti artist, and airbrush artist. Dude's just so talented. So make sure to check out his channel.
Airbrush, murals, cars. That's what I used to do back in the days.
Yeah, like, dude does it all.
10 years ago. Now I'm all UI, UX.
So
cool. So, all right, Miami Vice. Okay, we're going with this color. And let me
do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen.
There you go. You should have it.
I can start doing let me just start by searching Miami Vice colors.
So it's funny too, because right now I actually created this little design where our heads are at in this box. Let me add that to the stream. And that's using the same colors too. So that's the color palette right there, which it's kind of a tricky color to make it masculine.
Do you have these specific colors? Or you want me to just grab some of these and just
you can just grab those. I was just eyeballing
Okay.
those to be honest. I don't have like the exact hex values or RBGs for them. I just kind of just went off of there and then used the color picker and got it as close as possible.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and stop screen share, and then I'm gonna share
science and mathematics. A good starting place. It just depends what you want to do and what you're trying to learn for programming. If you're trying to be a web developer, or if you're trying to get into different types of programming, it really just depends. I always recommend Free Code Camp as a good place to start if you want to check out web development and really just kind of do some research and Google around what you're trying to get into. And there's just so many different resources out there, but freecodecamp.org is a really good place to start if you don't know where to go. A lot of web dev stuff and a lot of Python stuff that's not web development in there. So you can check that out. Go ahead, Enok. Sorry about that.
All good. All right. I just captured those colors. I have on my screen Sketch, and this is where I pretty much do all my thumbnails for my YouTube. We did the last one where we talked about web development. That was in a previous video. So this is the tool that I use for most of my thumbnails. So what I'm going to do is just copy one of these, and then I have a page just for you, Dorian.
Nice.
And I'm going to use this guy to basically start off with kind of a dummy template kind of to start off with. Let's take this out.
So
start from scratch. Let's see, I'll delete this. Dots. Okay, base. This is some text.
For people who aren't familiar with it, Sketch is an industry tool that many designers use, and it is Mac OS, right, Enok? And you got to have a Mac ecosystem to use it.
Yeah, there's Figma too, which is a web-based, and it's free.
Yeah. Figma's pretty popular now.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna copy original. I'm just downloading your image.
Yeah, go for it. If you had to choose between Figma and Adobe XD, because is Adobe XD it's not completely free, right? It's like freemium where you kind of have to pay for some of the extra stuff versus Figma is more free and open source, or is that also freemium too?
I think it's free. I mean, yeah, I believe it's free. It's not part of the Adobe Creative Cloud.
Okay, cool.
It's somewhat free. I'm gonna put this guy somewhere here. Actually, no. I'll just move it to the side here.
Okay. So I know with this particular image, it's going to go very well with the color theme since it does have that portfolio picture in it.
I see. You have that. Yeah, I see that.
Now, for someone who's like me, who knows very little about design, if I wanted to swap out, once we get this template set up to use the color theme that we're going to be using, which is the ones that are up there at the top there, what would be a good way to have the contrast and not have colors that aren't very friendly with each other? Should I just kind of keep the background of my image dark and wear a dark shirt in order to not have it just show too much of the image and not enough of the other side and wash it out? Should I do an overlay? I guess maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. I was just kind of thinking, brainstorming.
Yeah, I think the best thing you could do is take photos or I don't know, just a screenshot of the video. If it's dark enough, you could apply the contrast and make it dark.
Gotcha.
That's going to help contrast any letters, any wording. If it's a light background, that's where you're going to have trouble. Yeah. I'm gonna call this guy the box. So what I'm doing right now is kind of organizing my layers. So I'm starting off with this is the box, and then I'm putting the image behind it, and then I'm having that box, that angled box. I don't know if you like that style, but I'm just
You
gonna
know,
go.
it's the good artist copy, great artist steal thing. I actually kind of stole that a little bit from Neil at Kodu Community. His thumbnails, I really like his thumbnails, and I noticed he kind of has a similar layout where he does like the diagonal slash down the middle, and he separates it out into like half or like 3/4. And I liked his thumbnail, so when I sent you that first my first attempt at the thumbnail, and I was just like, dude, I need help with this. I kind of based it a little bit off of his. So shout out to
Okay.
Neil at Kodu Community. He was the last guest I had on Talking with Developers. Little
Cool.
series I'm trying to do for interviews. You were actually my first one on there. So
okay. Cool. All right. So I just took that teal color from this image, and then I put a gradient, applied it to the box. I'm going to push it down just a little bit. Well, not so much. Let's see, somewhere right there. Because I do want the text to contrast. I wanna be able to give you at least 3 lines of text. So we have like title, line 1, another one, line 2, and then line 3. And I do this as sort of a, hey, what happened? As a template. I'm just gonna resize these so that we could fit the 3 lines. Oh, that's weird. Why is it doing that? Paragraph.
Fartune, that's totally normal. Just push through it and Google anything that you might be getting stuck on, even if it's the most basic thing, like, you know, how to do a paragraph tag, or how to structure it, or how to create an HTML file. It's totally normal. A couple tutorials will never be enough. You got to put that stuff into practice. So
Talking about HTML structure.
well, they're saying that they did the HTML and CSS on Free Code Camp, and then when it came time for them to do the project, they like blanked and couldn't figure it out, and they felt like quitting. But it's just one of those things. That's just how it is with everything. If you don't know it well enough, it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of practice in order to get it to be natural. So
I used to use Team Treehouse.
I like Team Treehouse a lot. I actually I always recommend Free Code Camp because I think there's just, you know, you don't have the risk of having to sign up and pay anything, and it's for something that's free. It's very well structured and it's very well set up, and they set you up to like kind of like the path they take there is to get you job ready, which is like what a lot of people do. So, but I know Treehouse does have paths also and whatnot. So
yeah,
Treehouse is a good one. I remember using all of them and just jumped around from different ones to different ones. Man, that's looking good already.
All right. So, you know, this is a web developer channel. So if I can kind of like introduce the way I think of it, I know that this is a thumbnail and this is design, but developers we always think of it like markup. So imagine that these are like just different div elements or headings,
H tags.
H1 H tags. This could be like the main H1. This could be like the, I don't know, an H5 or something, you know. So I'm just breaking it down into like the channel title, your video category, and the actual video title. And I have like up to 3 lines just for scalability. You don't have to use 3 lines, but you know, you want to have that extra space if you get to use the 3rd line. So the first thing I want to kind of use your logo. I saw on your website you got Dorian develops.
Yeah, on my website, it's that's actually my personal portfolio. So it's actually Dorian Dominguez, but
Oh, okay.
but I am creating Dorian Develop soon, and I'm probably going to be using a very
Let's
similar
do it.
layout too. So I'm not
Let's
very
just,
creative. So.
let's just go with it. I actually went to your website and I did the inspect on the first line, and I know that you're using monotone. Uh, monotone.
I think that's what
The
it is.
font.
Yeah.
So
It's been
I'm
a
gonna.
while.
Can I screen share like my entire? I want to
You
download the
should
font.
you should be able to share your entire screen, not just a program. There should be different tabs in that
There
screen
it is.
share option.
Oh,
So
there we go. Okay.
I wonder if there's a way to like just allow it always, because it seems like it makes me. Sorry guys, I'm new to StreamYard and I'm just trying to get used to how to use this. So
Google font.
every time he shares his screen, it prompts me to allow him to do it. So I just wanted to give him freedom of doing it, but it still doesn't. I don't know where that setting is.
Is it showing up? Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, everything's showing up. It looks
Cool.
good. I can see it here.
All right, so this is the font that you're using, and what I use is this thing called Sky Fonts. It's an app that kind of allows you to install Google Fonts into your computer. So that's what I'm going to use to download it, and you can see it pop up over here in the corner. Let's see, accounts, Google Fonts, browse.
Oh, so it just kind of does all that for you rather than having to like download the font. Because I know on Mac it's pretty easy to install a font. You just kind of download the font file, then preview it, and then it gives you an option to install it. But this just kind of like takes care of that extra layer. That's cool. Sky Fonts.
Here it is. Monotone. Yeah, I want everybody. I mean, this thing has been useful for me. I wish everybody could use this. Especially like designers that are doing for web development, for like you want to be able to download those Google fonts. And what is this? No. Add entire.
Hey, what's up, Ants? How you doing?
Looks like update. I'm gonna do an update. I don't know why he's asking me for the download.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There it goes. Okay, installed. Cool. All right, so if I go here and type in mono, there it is, monotone. Woohoo! Look at that. And then what I'm gonna do to this one, I'm gonna give it that Miami Vice pink color.
Nice.
And then
that pink can be overwhelming sometimes, but it's nice to use it as a little accent color.
We want to use it very subtle, just an accent. Maybe like 10%, and then your main color is going to be that teal green, like baby green. And then this one, what's that other font that you use on your website? Dorian.
I don't even know. It might be like Open Sans. I'm not even sure. Or Maserati. I'm not really sure.
Did you use something else?
I know I did for the paragraph tags and whatnot, but I'm not really sure. Dude, it's been so long. I have no idea.
That liches.
It's a Google font, so you should be able to download it. I didn't use any custom fonts or non-Google fonts.
Let's use Ubuntu, bro. That's always a nice, good looking font. Ubuntu. I don't know. I kind of default to that one sometimes. Let's see. How's that? No. You know which one's good too? I've seen this one a lot since I've been doing a lot of the Instagram stuff. There's one that I really like. It's very narrow, so it allows you to fit more letters within a line. It's
I
called
like that. See, that's the little
Baylor.
stuff that I don't know. You know, I
It's
go with like the
yeah,
default font
because
and
I'm
yeah,
using Poppins, and I realized that I wanted to like if I could fit more letters within a line, that's gonna help. So look at this one. So I'm even thinking of changing it out to this for my Instagram post. What do you think about that?
I like
It's
it. It
gonna be
looks good.
nice and strong. Babies, new
Bebas, bebas.
Bebas. Install this guy. Let's see. Dude, I'm doing this on the fly. Like, I don't even have these on my system. I'm just freestyling. There it
Good to see
goes.
everybody here showing love. Thank you, thank you. Shabmas, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I appreciate the love for sure, for sure. Pete Gamer, thank you. Samuel de México, ¿cómo estás, amigo? Muchas gracias por venir.
Hey, Mexico, ¿cómo anda?
Not many people know it because I'm like the whitest looking Cuban on the planet, but I am Cuban. I am Spanish. I don't speak it as much as I used to, so I've been losing a lot of it. But I do read it okay, and I can barely write it, but it was my first language. So Enok's also Spanish. You're El Salvador, right?
Yeah, from El Salvador. Yeah, El Salvador, Salvatrucha.
El Salvadorian.
El Salvadorian.
Yeah, for sure. I
All
felt like
right.
I threw in an inside Ben joke right there. I wonder how he's doing.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him for a while.
Yeah, it's been
All
a
right,
minute.
cool. Here's the one thing that I want to kind of make it stand out to is the video category. So I don't know if you do this, but let's say if you have a playlist and in that playlist you might have like tips for web developers. And you want to, I don't know, categorize that playlist as tips, help, how to's. You might have like tutorials. How do you feel about that?
You know what's so funny that you mentioned that? I have a couple playlists, but almost all my videos that have to do with me talking about anything about code go into this one generic playlist that I created that's called Learn to Code that I made like the first video that I uploaded, and I keep putting stuff in there. And I'm like, I need to make more playlists that are more like motivation and tips and resume and this, and like I
But
need to start separating that stuff out. So when I see you make a video category, I'm totally like, oh, what should I put there? But then when you say playlist, I'm like, that makes sense. I didn't think of that.
because I mean, you could update your thumbnails and then give them a, what category are these? Are these motivational videos? Are they educational? Are they, to help you with your career? Tips on, advancing your career as a web developer. Are they tutorials? You know,
And I'm planning on doing some tutorials 2021. I have tutorials on my radar, and I'm really liking to have that video category there too, because it looks like a good spot to put that kind of info.
Yeah. There's this font that's like what the IDEs use. I think it's Mono. Yeah, one of those IDE fonts.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I think it's probably what I have on my VS Code right now. I could probably open up VS Code and just check.
There's one that I really like. I'm just gonna use for now the Ubuntu Mono.
Check in.
I used to use Monaco. Check that out, bro.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm looking at VS Code. Yeah, I got distracted.
Okay.
That looks good. That looks good.
Ooh. You know what? I don't know why it's uppercase. I'm gonna bring that down. You know how when you type a comment / and then put a semicolon at the end? I don't know. Make it look developer friendly,
I like it. I like it. Put it around curly brackets or something.
Yeah. Look at that. Boom.
I like the developer touch to it with the double slash for a comment. That's
I don't know.
Little.
That doesn't make sense. I know, to space. Well,
Well,
comment, and
maybe.
then
Oh, what if you do slash asterisk and then close it off like a multi-line comment,
there you go.
and then close it off at the end. That might look
That
like a
might
nice little touch there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys like that for a video category to have like it look like a comment in JavaScript or Java or other programs? Very common way to comment out stuff in different programming languages. So
that's cool. You know what? I'm gonna do something here with. I might saturate a little bit on the.
I feel like I'm cheating right now. Like I feel like I got cheat codes to my thumbnail, bro. You have no idea how much I work on that. Like the one that I sent you, I should I should send that one over to you so you can just show people when you have a second. Like it wasn't bad, but like compared to yours, it just looks like mine was just pure amateur hour. Like you can tell the skill difference of like when you're putting together a thumbnail versus like what I put together and what you've done in the last 20 minutes. It took me like an hour to put together the one that I sent you.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It's because what you're doing is you're trying to get a theme going, and it's like I don't like this one, I don't like this one. So I can kind of tell throughout like the history of all your thumbnails, you're just trying things out until one hits, you know.
And that's the thing. There's no rhyme or reason to my thumbnails, and I know that a lot of people tell you that you want to have consistent thumbnails for
you're
branding.
Just exploring. Yeah, you're just exploring, but that's fine. That's sometimes you have to go through that. You know, you have to do like so many of them to get to one that you really like. And this might not be the final one, I'm getting the information from what you like, colors and whatnot.
For sure.
I still want to spice it up though. I want to do something else to this. I don't know,
Christian,
of adding a line.
No problem, man. I've seen you around for a while now, and you offered to help me out with the translation of that one video, and we weren't able to. And I know you've been showing a lot of support on my channel, so I figured I threw you the moderator because I'm doing more live streams, and I had a troll on my previous one, and it's probably just good to have a mod. So I'm happy if you're happy to do it. I'm happy to make you a mod. So I kind of threw it on you without asking. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to for sure. But if you don't mind, that'd be cool.
There we go.
I'm actually trying to find that one that I created on Canva. So Canva is a pretty popular. Oh man, this is an atrocity. I forgot that I started. I forgot that I started adding this extra stuff to it. Canva is a popular thumbnail maker editing tool that's web based, and that's what I've been using for my thumbnails. And that was a thumbnail that I put together to show Enok before I like begged him for help. So, ooh, man, that
which one is it?
That looks here. I'll drop it in the Discord real quick.
Wait,
I gotta find it. I've got so many things going on, like so many windows. Oh, I don't even think it's on my YouTube channel. It was a work in progress, so I didn't download it. Or I didn't upload it to any videos. I just kind of threw it on.
Oh, okay.
But here, I just dropped it into Discord, and I added some extra flavor to it. You'll see it because you saw the first one I sent you, and then I added the graffiti drip marks to it. And I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, oh my god, if I saw that thumbnail,
there it is.
I mean, like I'm not looking at that dude's videos.
Oh, that drip.
The drip is too much. We
can do a drip on the side.
So when I first sent him this thumbnail, it had no drip. It had that light gradient in the background, and it was just like gray on one side and then like the baby blue on the other with a little bit of pink. And the first thing I asked him, I was like, I don't know how to make this a little bit more masculine. Like it was just too much pink and too much baby blue, and it made it feel like not the color scheme that, like when you look at the Miami Nights, even though those colors look like that, when you see them on a palette, the way that they're usually put together, they tend to look like a little bit darker, and they kind of have that 80s, cyber, retro feel to it. And when I put that thumbnail together with the drip and the paint on it, and and all that baby blue. I was like, oh, this is not what I'm going for. Like I need a professional.
Yeah, I got you, bro. What do you think so far? I added
I
these
love it.
lines here just to give it that look and feel.
I love it. Can you zoom in just a tiny bit just so we can
Sure.
see it a little bit better? Oh yeah, that's
There we go.
especially with that one. But I could see like if I had like a darker shirt, like as long as the background's not blown out white, it'll look really good.
There is something that I do notice on your thumbnails. I don't know if it's your white balance on the photo, but like once you go into video, you know, like this one right here, I'm scrolling
Well,
over,
that video's
and
that was
then
on my cell phone with bad lighting. That was one of my first videos. That's a more recent one there that
that's the
actually has
most
done
recent.
really well.
Yeah, there's see the color in your skin looks good here, and then here on the thumbnail it's kind of yellowish. Are you going with
Yeah.
that yellowish look? It's like golden yellow.
Bro, that's honestly probably just the fact that I have it set up a certain way and I haven't messed with it, and it's probably a little bit to do with my white balance. It might be a little bit to do with my.
You got to get yourself one of these things. This is gonna help you. One of these gray cards for video. Whenever you're doing a video, just take a just record with that, and then you use that. Just research white balancing a video, and
Gotcha,
then you can do
gotcha.
that with photo, and that's gonna help you a lot.
I try to mess with that stuff a little bit, and then it was just like I got it. I think I got it good enough at one point, and then I never touched it again because it was just stuff that I didn't want to have
All
to
good.
mess around with. But I don't even color grade my videos or anything. I know when you were telling me like you were color grading your videos and this and that, I was like,
A little bit.
I've never done it unless like the video came out too dark because I messed up the lighting completely that I needed to like brighten it up. But I do notice that I look extra tan, and I've been living in Washington, and I am not as tanned as my thumbnails look.
I'm gonna try to do this on Sketch here. Usually, this is done outside. It's probably could be done better on Final Cut. Really, some contrast. Not so much.
You know what I just thought too? I'm like, when I make DorianDevelops.com, I think I know what my hero image is going to look like. I'll probably do like the thumbnail. I'm just going to like split it off like that and have that for like my desktop
what do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Before and after.
Just from the color grading?
Yeah, I just desaturated it a little bit and then just moved it away from the yellows.
It's funny because I think I've gotten so used to like that yellow undertone to it that since I've seen this picture that one way for so long, that seeing it fixed looks like off to me, but it does look better. It also looks clearer. Like I can see it better.
It's gonna help with especially you want it to match the color theme that's going with the, and it's just a little bit, just tiny bit.
I think that's what you were saying too. I think you asked me at one point if I had like a Philips Hue light or something that I could try to get some of that some of those colors in the background to make it pop when I take the headshot for the thumbnail.
Yeah, if you get that I don't know, kind of like a teal look on the side or a pink, like, and you're wearing black, that's gonna make you stand out.
Oh man,
but you don't have to go
that light is so expensive.
You don't have to. I don't do that. So I'm not gonna suggest something I don't do.
It's funny because I actually purchased that Philips Hue light, and then I didn't realize that at the time when I purchased it, I bought the lights and I thought I was good to go, and then I needed to buy like the home adapter that was like another $60, and I was like, I am not spending $200 on these lights. And I got other stuff that I can spend money on besides the lights, but they are really nice lights, and I wish I had them, but I don't want to spend that kind of money on lights.
No, you're good. How's that? Maybe I should make them bigger.
Yeah, I almost feel like it should go over a little bit more to the right, like towards the image. Just I always have a hard
The
time
text,
with
the text,
yeah.
or the
Oh,
words.
the area for the text. So that line in the middle, I would take it a little bit more to the right and maybe straighten it up a little bit, just because I always have a hard time with like the amount of text that I put in my thumbnails, and I've been trying to make it less text. And everybody tells you to use like no more than like 5 words or something. There's some weird YouTube rule that people tell you to not use too many words in your thumbnail. Although one of my videos, it does pretty good. It's got like a paragraph in there. So I don't know. A lot of the stuff they tell you to do on YouTube doesn't always work, but
No, it's all about the content.
yeah.
You want the main thing about these is you want to grab attention. So if you dress up like a clown, you definitely gonna get views on that.
What you trying to say, bro? I hate those stupid faces. I hate making them.
Put a shock face, man.
They work, and it's upsetting that I have to make like this ridiculous face. But I've noticed that videos where I have a more exaggerated expression on my face tend to do better than videos where I'm just like smiling or just I got like a regular look on my face. So I have a few recent ones that like my wife was just totally just making fun of me and clowning me when she saw that. She's like, "You really making that face?" I say, "Yeah, I got to do what I got to do to get those views and get those clicks."
Cool. All right, I'm gonna leave it like this, bro. I don't know. Should I do anything else?
I like it a lot.
Just start off.
The only thing is how the words are bleeding over that line, and the white against that teal. Like I get lost on those, on the N and the E. Like it's really hard to see what that letter is. So I would probably end up making it a little bit smaller there, or just going over a little bit more. But it looks phenomenal compared to. I mean, you want to show the one with the drip one more time and see like the before and after.
Sure.
So it should be in a file on yours. Like
there it is.
Yeah. So I send Enok this as a, hey, I'm trying to make a new thumbnail layout. What can you help me out with? And then he comes back with what he just made right now, which is just so much better than what I had. Like it, like I'm looking at this, it hurts my eyes to look at that. Like I love it. It looks really good, especially with that color layout. And then if I ever wanted to change the colors, I could always just go in there and swap out some of the different colors, because the way that just the structure of how you laid out the text and all that with the line through the middle and everything just looks really, really good. Like a huge improvement. Yeah, I really like that.
I'm just tweaking these. There's no particular right way of doing this. Just going with the flow.
And then I mean, I could to get like different variations of this, I could like tweak it a little bit, and maybe since
sure.
So for consistency, would you suggest like the exact same template on every single picture, or something that's close enough that's kind Christian,
of what I've been doing.
Awesome, dude. Appreciate it.
Kind of what I've been doing. I just pretty much the same style, just changing the pictures and the words. That's what I've been doing.
It's a good layout.
You have more thumbnails than I do. You have way more videos.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is like, okay, well, like if I wanted to change it up a little bit and I wanted to do like 3/4, right? Because it's kind of 3/4 right now on the top of the image, like by my face, it's 3/4 there, right? But since we're going diagonal, it kind of ends up being like 1/2, right? So if I ended up going with like a straight line, I could potentially get a little bit more real estate on one side while keeping a very similar like pattern going with the colors and then the line down the middle. If I wanted to change it up but not get too far away from this template, so it's still consistent but has a little bit of difference in it. I was 32 years old when I started learning how to code, and I got my first dev job when I was 33. I'm losing track of time. No, I got my first. I'm getting old, so I'm forgetting stuff. But I started learning in my early 30s, 32, and let me see. It was right before I turned 33 that I got my first job, because it was when one of my kids was born, and I started like the next week. So it's kind of weird because I get a lot of my time confused sometimes with a lot of that stuff. And because when I was making a shift into like trying to get a computer job, my daughter was on the way. And that's when I was learning like networking and security and getting my A+ certification. And then after my daughter was born, I started focusing on learning how to code. And then we were having another baby, and I had gotten the job before we had the second kid. So it was just a whole lot of stuff going on in a very short amount of time. But it was like a year and a half from when I decided to start going into a job for computers. And then when I decided to start learning how to code, it took me about like 10 months from that point to get a job with like just doing programming. And I let go of the networking and security junk. So, oh yeah, that's exactly what, yeah. See, that looks really good too. And it looks very, very similar, because if we keep the same colors and stuff, it's still very much like the same theme.
There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah, do it, man. I'm watching. It's like watching Picasso paint over here, man. I always tell people that, like, you know, you're one of the best designers that I have ever met. And I'm so excited to see your channel start getting more content on it and start taking off, because once you start showing people what you got, man, like just your art that's on there is amazing. Man. So when you started showing people what you can do with designing, because I've seen you, I worked with Enok for 2 years. I've seen what he can do design wise, and the dude's very talented, and he's a UX expert. So
thank you, bro. I don't want to claim all that, but
well, I'll claim it for you. I know you're humble and being modest, but I've seen Enok put in work, and I've seen him lay out full web pages, and it's really, really fun to watch him work.
Bam, what do you think about that?
I love it, man. I love it. It's just so much better than what I had.
Do a third one?
Yeah, let's do it. How about we, for a third one, do you have something in mind already? Did you kind of have something lined up? Because I was thinking, like,
I want to flip it. Like,
well, I was thinking, is there a way to maybe, so let's say I had a image where it was just my, you know, like a no background. I cut out my head and my body, and it's just like a PNG with a transparent background. How could we see, that's almost a little too bright. But like, could we stretch it out and have like a full image side, and maybe just have like a transparent background image on one side if I decided to use a different image layout?
Send this guy over.
For sure. Let me find it.
It's a good picture.
I again, apologize for a second, because I got so many windows open right now that I don't even know which one I'm on. I have like 4 browsers going, and I thought I had it recently.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Let me see if this one's here. The last time, so Enok tells me to send him a thumbnail with a transparent background, and then I had there's an option to download it with a transparent background, but since I took the background off in Canva and then I sent it to him, and it was just a white background because it took like the default background that was on it, and I was like, all right, I feel pretty stupid right now. So I'll make sure I won't do that this time and send you a transparent one. 1 second, it should be
No,
coming
you're
in.
good.
I think this one's transparent. Yeah, this one's transparent. It's not my favorite image for it, because I do wish that I had one that had more of like more of my body in it, but it'll be good enough for the example just to give us an idea of what it'll look like with a transparent image on one side.
Okay, there it goes.
I just don't have any other images available and ready to go. I should have thought about that.
You're good. You're good. Okay, there we go. Bitmap image.
Yeah, see, because like this, if then my head and my body take like a smaller portion on one side, then it could help me with certain thumbnails where I just have too much text and I need that little extra room. But so far so good. It looks really, really nice.
This is where it gets tricky because that green is probably too much.
Yeah, I see that. And the contrast on the pink and the blue, it's just it's too many colors going on right there. So what would you I see where you're going with it. You're gonna go for like a darker, like navy-ish color there, the purple.
Dark.
Okay.
Either one of these, closer to what you have on your website.
Yeah. That looks good. I like that. It's funny because the first person to explain color theory to me was Enok.
Like
and
so I'm taking that teal. I'm taking that teal color and I'm just like bringing it down like to where it's almost gray and dark, but it still has a little bit of that tone to it.
So funny because that's the same exact thing that you did for my portfolio. I don't know if you remember because that was years ago,
actually,
but I remember
I like this look, man. I really like this color.
That's one of my favorite colors. I got it from the LeBron, the Miami Night LeBrons that they came out in that color theme.
Save this guy. And then let me grab this one and save this as well. I just want to switch it just to see what it looks like. Oof. Look at that.
You're very welcome, Saeed. I'm happy to help inspire and motivate people.
Dude, I like this better.
Which one? I
really like this look on overall.
I like it too because I have enough of the teal and the pink in there. Now I'm wondering if it just looks like that because of that picture having my portfolio in it where it's accenting that color. Like I'm wondering if I send you another just like a black t-shirt picture.
Sure. Send me another one.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look for them in my YouTube videos because I don't even know which ones I have. Like if I have one that I can. Oh God. You might have to flip the image, but let me go into YouTube Studio real quick and pull this thing out. You know what? Well, if you're working on that, I might be able to just download this real quick and pull the background off of it and see if I can
even a color like this might help too.
You know what? I think I already have it in my Canva because I used it for here. All right, it's gonna be one of those. Yeah, all right, I found one. Let me make a copy of this and pull the background off of it real quick. Hopefully it doesn't give me a hard time. It's actually one of my recent ones where I'm wearing a black t-shirt, or because you're saying like a black t-shirt would probably be better. Like if I had a red t-shirt, that color contrast of a red shirt with that's just not gonna look good, right?
Right.
Let me see here. Oh, it's locked.
Yeah, I'm just inventing stuff.
Yeah, go for it. Don't mind us, everybody that's in the stream right now. I am just getting the hang of streaming, and sometimes I forget that there are other people in this room, and I tend to like forget about the chat and not trying to ignore anybody and not trying to make anyone feel like we're not paying attention. It's just that I forget, and I apologize. I'm trying to get better about that and remember that there's people watching.
Here we go. I don't know. I'm just putting lines in there.
Okay, here, I should be able to download this now. Transparent background. Okay, I'm downloading the picture that I was going to use. You might have to flip it just so it will be pointing the right direction. Because on the image itself, I was standing on the other side, but I'm going to send it to you right now. Just a sec. All right, you should be getting it right now. I'm really glad that I took a recent headshot with a black shirt because I haven't worn a black shirt in a while.
That's cool. Gotcha. Copy image. Paste it. I'll flip it.
I'm not even really sure how many people are in here. I think there's like 5 people in here. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer any questions that I can. If you got questions for a designer, Enok will take questions too, right? Enoch, you don't mind answering?
Sure. Yeah, I don't mind. So, go for it. I just don't have visibility to the chat right now.
No worries. I will. If a question pops up for you, I will read it for you. So don't worry about trying to keep up with the chat. I let me stress out about that. Oh, look at that ridiculous face.
Yeah, but then like
it looks like I'm a floating head because the black background is so dark. Man, it's crazy. Like just how much, like how good your thumbnails look compared to like wow.
I don't know. I'm just adding a
gradient. Is that all it is? Just a little.
Yeah, it's like a circular
gradient.
Yeah, it's circular gradient. I can either do that didn't look.
No, that's too much. I like the that dark blue that you kind of went with the first time. Oh, even the purple looks good, man. That like all those colors look
at
good.
That, bro.
Wow, that's a thumbnail. Like
that's good.
Everyone watching right now, make sure to check out Enok's channel. It's listed in the description below. It's really good stuff. He's starting to focus on purely UX stuff, and as you can see from what he's doing here, the guy knows his stuff. Wow.
Yeah, I think this is going to be good thumbnail. Can you do that on Canva? Like do a circular? Or I mean, I can do this. I can create the background, and then all you have to do is put your thumbnail on top of it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Canva it's a good tool, but either one, I don't know how to use it well enough, or two, it's limited because it's not a full-on design tool. But it has a lot of features to it. But I don't think what I would be able to do in Canva is that I would pick a gradient background and then throw in crop it in half and then change the color on it, but it won't let me, like how you kind of centered it in the middle and then made it like a vignette. I don't know if it'll let me do that, and it might. I'm not that good with it, so I don't know.
Okay,
man, that looks good. That's a nice thumbnail.
I don't know what I'm doing here, but yeah.
Thank you, Christian, for linking to Enok's channel there.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Is that too much?
Can you zoom in a little? It just seems hard to read because of the like the blue on blue there. Was that what you were talking about, the text on the
I'm kind of like, I want it to be, subtle as part of like the background, so it's not just that gradient.
I will say that I like the lines in the center, like how you kind of did that to break that up, because it looks like neon lines almost. But if I had to choose between this one and the one above it, I think the one above it is just so good that it's hard to look at the other one and feel the same way about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like that's a great thumbnail.
It's the image, man.
Is that what it is? That other image is grainy.
It's the face.
It's the stupid face that. it's the,
It's the face. It's the. I mean, this is.
I guess you're
face.
right. That is a better picture. It's better quality. It's more expressed.
I would probably even like just do slight color adjustment.
All I can think about is like in Step Brothers, where he's like, I don't like your face. Can you change your face? I just want to. There's something about your face. I just want to punch. That's kind of when I see that. I just hate making those faces, but it works. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's still like I love it, but I don't know. There's something about that teal and pink that just makes it hard
on this one.
Yeah, like it seems like if you darken it up or something. I don't know what I just don't know enough about design, but
yeah, no, it might be just I don't know. It might be too light.
Yeah, maybe is that what it is? Maybe it's just too light and it needs to be darkened up a little bit because everything else is so dark that like really it almost brings out that background too much, where it's not as subtle as the other one. Enok, Ram asked a question: where do you find design ideas and inspiration? What's a good spot if he's looking for design ideas and inspiration?
Dribbble.
Dribble's good.
Yeah, Dribble's good. But like what I just did right now, I just Googled Miami Vice colors, and like I like to think about, okay, what is the thing that I'm trying to do? What is the theme? And if I just stick to Dribbble, that is going to take me forever to find inspiration.
Gotcha.
But let's say I don't know, like
well, like
color,
just getting started. No,
I don't know. I'll look at fish colors too. Like, no lie. Like I'll look at nature, and like it's incredible how much nature gives you like good color combination.
All it makes me think of is that underwater or under the sea mural that you did. God, that's such a cool mural. God, it's on his channel. If you guys just go, like, I want to link the video because it's just such a good, like, wow. Like it's just like I just can't stop talking you up.
I mean, this is my secret. This is my secret. I'm just giving it away. I look at exotic animals and stuff, like just nature,
like nature's color.
Yeah, like look at the combinations of this. Like, it's amazing how if you observe nature. And like,
so I think his question was a little bit more, and I remember you actually helping me with this when I was getting started, and I think I had a very similar question when I first started working with you.
Colors
was kind of like for consistency and layouts on web pages. And I remember at the time you really liked Foundation, which
Zerb's
library. What would that be? Is that a CSS framework or is that a library?
Yeah, it's a CSS framework.
And then Material UI was also something that you recommended for me back then too.
Material UI. That's what I do. I just go to Material UI colors. I mean, you want some good UI colors, go here. Scroll down, and then you get these color palettes.
Yeah. So
they're like 500. They're 500 is your starting point for reds, for pink. Just grab one of these, and then this will give you a nice set of ranges for that one color. And I don't like to implement all of them. I'll skip like 2 or 3. Like if take 500. Then I also use 300 and 700.
Now,
Skip one in between.
a question they have is like the standard ideal font sizes, button sizes, input sizes, like that stuff. You can find a framework like Bootstrap or Foundation and kind of see what they're using, and then just base it off of that. Even their breakpoints for their media queries too will be a good place to go.
My starting point is 16 pixel as a base font size, and then scale from there. So if you look for CSS font scale, is it font scale unit size? Hi, there's other
because you almost do a Fibonacci sequence on that, right? Well, it's not really Fibonacci, but you kind of do like a half size bigger of each one, right?
Here we go. Type scale. So if I like to start off with 16 as my base font size, and then there's a scale, major, third, perfect fourths. I don't have a specific, but the way it scales is like, for example, this one is a 1.2 scale, right? So then every number, every font above that, it'll scale by 1.2.
Got you, and then
it'll scale down.
Or
right, depends on what you're. If you want to use the golden ratio, which is big on like design, but that's probably too much for web design.
Yeah,
so 1.6, 18. Perfect.
I don't know about HTML6. I don't know when that's coming, or CSS4 is supposed to be. I know there's like little things in CSS they've been talking about that's supposed to be from 4 that have been showing up, but I'm honestly, I don't know. I know Bootstrap 5 is dropping soon if it hasn't already.
Oh man, I'm gonna save this. Typescale.com. I'm saving this.
So Ram, you should nowadays, if you're building a website, you should pretty much always take a mobile first approach. That's probably your best bet on building stuff, because if you go desktop first, you're gonna kind of be working backwards a lot of the times, and it's personally, from my experience, it's better to structure your CSS and your media queries going mobile first versus desktop first, and scaling it that way. Enok, do you agree with that, or do you have any opinion on should you go mobile first? Or
mobile first is always the best. It's the hardest because business always wants to see desktop first.
That's
and it's
so
almost
true.
like it's almost like you have to go back and leave mobile last. And if you try to do mobile first, like, where's the desktop design? But the idea is to start mobile first, because it's easier to scale up than to scale down.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that about business.
Especially, it's true. It's true.
But the first thing that they do is check it on their phone. They want it built. They always want it built desktop first. They always look at it desktop first. The first thing they do is look at it on their phone when it's built, and then they start critiquing. They're like, "Why doesn't it look?"
They're gonna performance check you based on how it looks on desktop, but then when they're actually, like, once they're on the way to work or whatever, they're at home, or with their friend or coworker, they're always testing it on their phone.
You know what's crazy? That what I'm doing now for work is, so the job I got hired for is a modernization project where they're taking a 15-year-old desktop job application and they're making it for web. But the users are all users that are in-house. It's not a distributed web application. It's we know all our users, and they're always going to be our users, and it's the employees, and it's actually set up for desktop first, and we don't support mobile. And the biggest screen size we do support, or the smallest screen size we support, is 780. and or 786 or whatever. And I think it's funny now because I haven't done any like mobile design, and my boss was telling me that they're talking about possibly making it mobile, and I'm like, oh, I was like, this thing is a desktop application like the whole way through, and all I can think of is like, this might be a little bit harder than like it's going to be a big redesign because we have like a big side navigation that now like we don't have a hamburger menu, we don't have that. So if we make it mobile, that whole thing is going to have to come out. We're going to have to hide it. We're going to have to put all that. And it's a robust, it's a big navigation. And I'm just like, ooh, that's going to be a stressful situation. So
don't do it. You have to know your users too. I mean, if it's an application, it's like you're doing heavy work on it. You're not going to go like it's a desktop application, you know.
That's on web. And I think that's where a lot of them are like, oh, so can we use this on our phone? And it's like, well, actually, I mean, you can.
Think about Photoshop, right? So there's apps like Photoshop for the phone, but like they strip out like 80% of the menu. They just leave just a minor little stuff.
That makes sense because you kind of have to. You can't offer everything on mobile as you can.
If you want to use the real Photoshop, you need to use a desktop or a tablet, you know, or, you know, now they have for iPads, but, you know, you need that space. And it all depends on what the software is for and who are the users.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, Enok, thank you. I know it's getting late. It's already 11. And I think, good. Yeah, I don't see your screen anymore. I don't know if you meant to stop sharing. I was taking it as a hint, like he's like, yo, dude.
No. I just wanted to hear you out, so I closed it out so I could see you.
Gotcha, man.
I feel like I'm actually chatting with you.
For sure.
Yeah, here's version 1, version 2.
Oh, okay.
Not a big fan of this. Not so much. Yeah, it's a picture.
It looks.
This one.
That one is.
This
fire.
one right here. I like it. I like this one.
That one's really nice.
And you can switch them around.
I like the fact that it would be easy to. Honestly, as lazy as it sounds, and this is why I want to emphasize this, I have literally spent hours on a single thumbnail before, and then sometimes it's worth it, and then sometimes it does not do anything for my channel because I'm a small channel, right? But I want to like have a really good thumbnail. When I can cut that all out, and if I take 20 different stupid faces like this kind of picture in a black shirt, and then I can just throw that on there, that is going to save me so much time. So, man.
What's the name of this video so I can put it in here and then you could use this as the thumbnail for this video? How about that?
Yeah, actually, the name of this video, I think it was Professional UI UX Designer Enok Madrid helps me with my thumbnails. So you could make that like Enok makes my thumbnails or something. I don't know.
I need help with my thumbnails.
That is an understatement if I've ever heard one. Yes, we are trying to respond to comments. I mentioned earlier, I am just awful at streaming and gotta like get used to people being in here. And I forget that I'm not just talking to Enok, and I've been trying to answer as many things in the comments as I can, Blitz. So if you have some questions, Enok's not really looking at the chat, but I am. And if you have questions for him, he's a UX UI designer and web developer. If you have questions for me, I'm kind of looking at the chat and just talking to Enok as he builds some thumbnails for my YouTube channel. To answer Ram's question, so here's the thing: how to make my portfolio. What was it? How to make sure if my portfolio is good enough to land an entry-level job. This is going to sound funny, but make sure your portfolio is good enough to land a job that's not entry level. Like if you want to say that I'm trying to land an entry level job, you're kind of setting your bar pretty low. And I get when you're first learning, because I was there and I would look for junior developer jobs and apprentice, and I would put all these like lower leveled position titles in my job searches. And I realized that, one, there's not a lot of junior developer jobs out there. And two, when you look for a junior developer job, most of them want you to have as much experience as a non-junior position does. So the truth is just try to make your portfolio as good as you can and show off the skills that you know and show the things that you've built. And don't worry so much about the level of entry for the position that you're going to apply for, and apply for jobs that aren't junior developer jobs or junior entry level jobs, and just try to keep working on your portfolio. My portfolio was a project I worked on more than any other project that I had. And when I would build something, I would go add it to my portfolio. And I always found that I would like build something. I'd build a calculator in JavaScript and HTML and CSS, and I would go add it to my portfolio. And then I was like, ooh, I can like tweak these things and make my portfolio look a little better. So it's just one of those things that you just kind of keep working on and make it as good as you can. Sorry, Enoch, if I cut you off, I wanted to answer that question.
No, you're good. I think something that stood out for when you got hired, I remember the senior developers at our previous job. The one thing that stood out, I remember there was a project you did. It was like in an NVC framework. I don't know if it was an e-commerce. You did a Laravel project or one of those frameworks, or was it like?
I mean, I had some bootstrap stuff. I think I had something that was on a framework. A lot of my
like
projects were static.
Like an entire shopping experience or something. You had a shopping cart or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Somebody else. I had a shopping cart landing page, like, but I didn't have a full like working application. I know from
I remember.
Oh, sorry.
I remember inspecting it, and I was like, "Oh, this guy used Laravel, or I don't know if it was Laravel or one of those frameworks." It was, I know, or was it a Rails app? I don't know, but you did something, and I know it was you because like I saw it on your portfolio. And
I'm trying to think of it, and I don't remember it. I know that when I did have that interview,
there were some things. There were some things that did not work. It wasn't fully fleshed out. Like, yeah, like honestly, like it wasn't fully fleshed out. But the fact that you put it out there and you stated, look, I'm working on this, it's a work in progress. There are some bugs, but the thing that you stated, you did the MVC frame, the whole like how MVC works, and the front end bootstrap, and I mean, like putting a project like that stood out more than the calculator that you put, or small tutorial dummy app that you follow the tutorial on,
Yeah.
And stood out more. And they were talking about that, I was like, and like we knew that, it wasn't all that. There was bugs, but that's fine, like, but the fact that it was, a full app working, like that was cool. A web application.
And the thing is that I, at that time, I had a few things that were fully built by me. And I also had a few like tutorial projects that I followed along with. One thing I made sure to do though, was that I stated the fact that like, this was all me and this was stuff that I learned to do and I've been working on.
Right.
And, I remember them testing me.
There was a lot of transparency. Yeah, you want to be transparent with the work. You just say, hey, I worked with this with another. I collaborated with another developer. Like that's cool. Like don't be afraid of doing that.
For sure.
And if you have to work with another developer, on some side projects, that's a good way to get some portfolio items up there.
For sure. To answer Blitz real quick, I don't know much about ethical hacking. I would probably say Python if I had to guess. Recursion is just used when you need to do the same thing over and over, and you basically call the function on itself multiple times. And I don't know recursion very well. I hate when I get a recursive problem, but it's one of those things that I would have to Google and figure it out to do. Do you need to know math to learn ethical hacking, game development, web development? You need to understand logic better, and you need to be able to tell the computer what math you need to do. You don't need to know math specifically, because you can let the computer do a lot of the calculations. You just need to know how to tell the computer what you needed to do. So that's a big misconception. Obviously, mathematicians, remember Miles? We used to work with Miles. He had a 4-year degree in math, and that dude was a really good developer, but he went to school for math, and some of that stuff did transfer over. And it's one of those things where it will help you if you're good at math, but it's not like a necessary requirement, especially for like game development and web development and app development. Math rarely ever comes into play.
The only thing that I know that I remember from algebra was PEMDAS, the order of operations.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know that stuff.
That's like the one thing that I know it's applicable to program. Like if you're doing multiplications and additions and subtractions, divisions, and the order of sequence, for these, which one comes first. I think it's called PEMDAS or something. Whereas
I have no idea. I dropped out way
parentheses. Yeah, parentheses, exponential, multiplication, PEM, D is division, A addition, and S subtraction.
Oh yeah,
that's the only thing that I know that I've had to like recall when doing development because of it. I used to work for this company where we would sell gold online, and there was a lot of transitions. There was a lot of transactions where you had to take like grams to ounces and then turn that into US dollars, and there was a lot of math behind the scenes. And I worked on an Angular piece of that app, and I had to do the math. And I remember going back to like PEMDAS and trying to understand that. That's the only time I had to recall math, but that's about it.
If you want to go to school for math, I don't have a passion for math. I mean, getting a math degree will definitely help you if you decide to pursue computer science afterwards, because it's a STEM degree, and a lot of companies will take a math degree pretty seriously when you're applying for software developer jobs, but it's, again, not required. Don't worry about math too much. Trust me, I can barely spell sometimes, and I was still able to get a job. So that's not to like down talk this stuff, because it is hard, but it's something that you don't need to overly concern yourself with. And yeah, and like Christian said, Khan Academy has a lot of good stuff for math, and you can learn a lot of math online. You can learn pretty much anything online nowadays. We're gonna because I feel like we've digressed a little bit, and Enok's here helping me out, and I want to kind of go back to some of the designs, and I think we're pretty much like I'm happy with it. Like I'm ready to take these and start swapping out all of my thumbnails here pretty soon. I got to get my camera ready and go get my black shirt and start making stupid faces.
Cool.
Man, it looks hot. Cool. It looks good. I love it, man. It looks
awesome.
It looks amazing. I am so happy with, like, again, show the drip one last time. Show the drip picture. You got to show it one last time, just to show people what I sent you and told you, like, hey, I'm trying to make I'm trying to make a thumbnail. So this is what I sent Enok, where I was like, I need help, man.
This is my text.
There
you go. Drip.
The drip wasn't there, but I thought it was going to look good, and it hurts my eyes to even stare at it. And then now when I look at that final thumbnail that you have down there, that just it obviously, you can tell that one of them was created by a professional designer, and the other one was created by some asshole with a camera.
Dude, It could, I don't know, like if you get another designer, it might look better. I don't know.
Ah, man.
The idea is to make it stand out, you know. And how do you
I
do that? By giving some high contrast, and the
I love
words
it.
have to stand out. Yeah,
I
and then the shock face, that's gonna do it,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, you gotta everybody tells you that it works, man. So I gotta make the make it happen with the silly faces. So I guess from a designer like standpoint, like what would you so if I wanted to make a thumbnail without a like
The
pull up my
easy one,
yeah, well pull up
the
well without
easiest
text.
one,
Like if
the
I wanted
easiest
to
one was this one.
that one.
Okay, yeah. So let's
Is that just
yeah.
because you kind of did one half text and then the other half is just a picture and there's not much but a gradient and then just the contrast is really in the differentiating of the text and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, because all you have to do is like put in the image in the background. You don't have to do anything to the image. You don't have to crop it out, basically, what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
Just add the text and the image and you're good. And the thing that I'm gonna export is this right here. So if I export this,
I got you. Okay.
you know, you just need that layer and then just put the image in the background and then your text. But I think I'm
Gotcha.
gonna give it to you in a Figma file. That way you can edit your text and just drop it in there. That's gonna be easier for you
I've been
than
meaning
to
to
do it
check out
on
Figma
Canva.
too. So I've been procrastinating on that. Somebody was just talking about procrastination. I'm pretty bad about that myself sometimes. And Figma is one of those things that I'm like, I downloaded it the other day and that's as close as I've gotten to using it, but I've been meaning to give it a try. So if you send me that in a Figma file, it's going to give me a reason to have to go in there and figure out how to use it a little bit.
Sure.
Man,
See.
that's awesome. I'm so happy. You don't know like it's like 11:30 and all I can think about
That's
is
cool.
like, oh man, maybe I might have to stay up and redo some of those thumbnails
No,
that I
you're
got.
good. Do what you
So
got to do, man.
yeah, that looks
I'll
good.
set up a file on Figma because I know Sketch you have to pay for it. So I'll
Yeah,
transfer these over
I don't have Sketch either. So
to Figma.
we can start wrapping this up. I mean I
All right.
can if do you have anything you want to tell people, anything you want to talk about before we go? Like
Yeah, subscribe to my channel.
there we go. There we go. It's in the description
No,
below. I know Christian
yeah, I'm
linked it
starting it
earlier.
out. I'm, you know, like my intention is to do tutorials eventually, but I'm starting to like, you know, just simple videos to get the YouTube algorithm going. But yeah, I plan on, especially for 2021. I'm
Nice,
gonna be
nice.
dropping more videos. Right now, I'm just starting with like the basics. What is UX? You know, just very simple, fundamental stuff.
What's one of
Yeah,
those things that UX design and UI design and that whole thing is probably something that's gotten really popular. I'd say like in the last like 5 years, right? And you're hearing a lot more like UX developers and UI developers and
it became a buzzword. Yeah,
it totally is. But then again, like the job that I got hired on as a UI UX developer. Like that was it was a front end developer,
dude.
but it was a big emphasis on the UI UX. And basically, they just wanted somebody who was really good at HTML and CSS and used some JavaScript.
I just got promoted to UI engineer.
Yeah,
Like,
and
dude,
it's
it's amazing.
and it's an amazing title to have. And we were talking about this stuff off air, and I mean we're not going to go into too much of the details, but would you say that it was also kind of like a position that was made specifically for you because you have a specific set of talents and skills that you don't really fall under the category of a web developer, or for instance and we
It's like
work
a bridge.
in
Yeah,
AEM,
between
so you don't fall into that either, but you are in a way. But you would say it's a bridge.
design and development. Well, front end development specifically,
Gotcha.
and design. You know, and it's like sort of both worlds, and kind of like, yeah, you're like in between. And if you can understand the front end world, you don't you know enough to communicate to the developers. You might help them, you know, if they get stuck on mostly the CSS world, because a lot of developers hate CSS. Like they're I'm
I'm
looking at you.
becoming one of those. I'm becoming one of those. I have gotten to the point where I don't want to deal with it anymore. I
And I
really,
don't blame you. It gets complicated. It could get complicated,
but some
especially
people
once you
love
have a
it.
big
I
app.
know you love it, and you do some really cool stuff with it. And at what point in time I liked it a lot, and it got me to where I'm at. But I'm just I'm over it, you know. And we use a framework, and all the CSS is kind of there
Right.
already. And whenever I have to do custom CSS, I'm
Nice.
like, why? I don't want to, you know. This doesn't fit, and I need to fix it. And nobody else knows how to do it where I'm at, and like I said, I got hired for UI UX. So when something comes up where it's like, hey, we need this to look good, or like I said, we were talking about, they're saying maybe we might need a mobile version of this. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to, no. But yeah. It's cool, man. It's cool. I like talking to you, Enoch. It brings back a lot of memories of like when I was first getting started and whatnot. And I feel like I've kept you long enough. It's almost 11:30. You're more than welcome to go. I'll probably, I don't know. I'll hang out and answer some questions if anybody wants.
Okay.
If you want to hang out, you can. I know it's getting late. I know you got a wife, a wife who's pregnant, and I know you're up pretty late. I don't want you to get in trouble. So
no, we're good. We're good. No biggie. Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
Yeah,
doing these thumbnails. I really enjoy it. I think that I want to do more like this. And definitely I'm gonna do a theme. So I'm doing this series of mini UI patterns on my Instagram. So I might take this as a theme and then apply some UI designs to these colors. And I don't know what comes out of it.
I like it. I like it. That's a good idea. I like it. I actually saw one of your recent mini UI. What is that? I'm a dinosaur, bro. I'm like an old man when it comes to social media. So I don't even know what that's called. Like when you have like multiple pictures on Instagram.
Oh,
like is that
carousels? They're called carousel.
Okay, so you had a carousel with that.
Yeah. So and let me see if I can pull one up.
Yeah, pull it up. Show people. Sure, follow Enoch on Instagram too. His Instagram is really good, and he's got a lot of his old stuff from graffiti on there, but a lot of his new stuff that he's been posting on IG has been just all like UX and UI stuff, and he's got a lot of cool carousels. Oh, let me allow that. I forget that it prompts me every time.
All good.
Oh, so you build them here?
Yeah, I have all of them here. So.
Oh,
I just did one with the Hulk. UX is like the Hulk, and then I try to do some metaphors. I got like these are the carousels. Let's see.
That thing's making your computer work right now, huh? It takes a lot to load all those images.
Here they are. So I do these like these are like, think of them like UI patterns, like design systems, but they're like super small. And I break them down into colors, typography, the buttons, and then I put them all together into maybe a card, call to action. So I'm just creating these, so I don't have to create a whole entire app, but I want to give like just a mini design system that anybody can just grab and just start using. And then that's just an example.
Really, really cool. I don't know if anybody else is doing that, and you're one of the first people that I've seen like posting this kind of stuff, and this is really, really cool.
And I want to do it around things that can be applicable to different themes. Like, for example, this one's for like the food industry, anything with like a restaurant, This one's more like music, multimedia, maybe Bitcoin type stuff. Then the last one was this one. It was more like in the financial.
That's the one that I saw.
Financial. Yeah.
That's nice, man.
Transferring, money to another person. So it's got that green look and feel.
Like Mint, right? That
yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Mint, but Mint is a lot. It gives you an overview of your bills and your credit cards and all that. This is more like a transaction. I was thinking of like Coinbase also,
Gotcha. Okay.
But But yeah, the next one's gonna be that Miami Vice one.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'll be all over that. You know what I'm gonna do too? When I
Guys
build
can
Dorian
follow me.
Develops, that's gonna be my design system that I'm gonna use.
That's
So
my Instagram. If you guys want to go check it out, that's where I have most of them.
let me pull that up real quick, and
Enok Madrid. That's my name.
I'm just gonna pull it up so I can share it in the chat there.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you make that mini design system, I'm gonna use that for the DorianDevelops.com that I plan on building out this year.
Do it on the website, you know, and then
I'm gonna use a thumbnail as the hero with the slice down the middle.
You gotta send me those triangle patterns. I don't know what you did there, but that's part of that could be part of the system too.
Oh yeah. I think
the background on this live stream.
Oh, I could do that.
You can use that. You can incorporate that as part of the website. Make it a thing, you know.
I got you. Okay, yeah, that was something I threw together on Canva, and I was like, "Oh man, this looks great." I never made anything that looks this cool. So, all right, Enok, I'm gonna let you go, man. Cool. It's 11:30. All right. And I will talk to you later. We got to do another one of these, and I'm more than happy to go on your channel. I see there's like 12 people in here, so I'm gonna open it up for just a few questions. I'll hang around for another like 15-20 minutes if anybody wants to ask anything. Cool. And Enok, have a good night. Thanks again for doing the thumbnails for me. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. Peace.
All right,
later.
Peace. Later.
Good night, guys.
All right, so you got me for a few more minutes. I'm noticing that there's a few people in here more than there was earlier. So if you want to ask any questions, I'll wait a couple minutes. And if I don't see any questions pop up, I will probably just call it a night. And yeah, so awkward silence. I know there's a delay in the from when there's a delay from when I say this stuff and from when it actually pops up, and I'll give everybody a little bit of time to type. So it is getting late and I am getting tired. So not currently. I was training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for quite some time. I actually started that before I got into programming, and that was one of my bigger hobbies. I have not really been focusing on anything else besides YouTube, and I guess that is a bunch of different stuff that goes around new skills. I've been learning how to use a camera. I've been learning about lighting. I've been learning about editing, and kind of just learning about how to start an online, like, I don't know, entity, personality. I don't like to call myself an influencer, but I've been trying to learn about how to start social media platforms and all that stuff, because I'm an old man who doesn't like social media. But ever since I started this channel, I had to kind of consider those things. And now I'm seeing the value that, you know, Instagram offers and Twitter and all that stuff. So I'm trying to use that stuff more. So I've been learning about those things, and I've been learning a lot about YouTube. That's probably the thing that I've been focusing on the most since COVID happened. And I don't have jiu-jitsu anymore because you can't really social distance and train. I've been focusing my free time on this stuff, and that's the new set of skills that I've had. And if you've seen some of my videos where I do like B-roll and a little bit of better editing, and I've started to learn how to shoot B-roll myself. Like I got like my desk set up and my the two chairs where I compare them. I did a lot of that B-roll on my own, and that's all things that I'm learning. So I guess I'm learning a lot about cinematography and photography lately. I don't So Alan, I don't do JavaScript animations. I don't really know where to send you. I know that there's a really popular library right now, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I had a friend of mine who was using it. I can actually check the Discord real quick where he was sending me messages about it, and I know that it's pretty popular for animations. Just a second. It's a long chat, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it real quick. Yeah, I can't find the resource that he was using for JavaScript animations, but I'm sure if you just Google JavaScript animation library, you'll probably find it. Christian, what did you do after you went through free code camp courses? So I did a lot of stuff. Like I was talking with Enok earlier, I did use Team Treehouse. I used free code camp. I had Udemy courses, and I bounced around between a lot of things. But at one point, and I don't really know when I hit that like spot where I was just like, I'm not really going to do any more courses and tutorials. And I just focused on building stuff. And that's when I went through a lot more of the free code camp stuff and landed on their projects, and then started realizing like, okay, well, now I need to apply these things that I'm learning. And I talk about this a lot where I tell people that I did a lot of HTML and CSS, and then I would start learning a little bit of JavaScript, and then I would come across stuff that was just very difficult and I didn't understand, and then I would move back to like building more stuff with HTML and CSS. And I kept kind of repeating that until I said, you know, I'm just going to focus on pure JavaScript for the next 2 months. And I really just worked through all those like JavaScript framework and JavaScript projects. I can't think of the word, projects that they have on free code camp. So I built like a calculator in JavaScript, and I built a Pomodoro timer in JavaScript, and I built all the things that free code camp mentioned there. And then I started looking for other projects that were like beginner friendly JavaScript projects. I did JavaScript 30. And when I did JavaScript 30, I followed along to that when I was first starting to learn JavaScript, but I couldn't do those projects on my own, which would be interesting for me to go back and try to do them now. I like Wes Boss a lot. I think his content's amazing. And I know that he's still making content. I know that he has the Syntax podcast with Scott Tolinsky, who also is a really good React developer. And those guys just have a lot of good free content on YouTube and whatnot. And they also have a lot of good paid stuff. So JavaScript 30 is free. And then that was something that I worked on for quite a bit. And I actually listed a lot of those projects on my portfolio early on, even though I didn't build them. I had like a section that I said like tutorials that I've done, and I put a lot of those on there. I don't know. When you don't have anything on your portfolio, you start to like fluff it as much as you can. Blitz, I used TubeBuddy for a little bit a few months ago. And I didn't like how much it slowed down my browser. I noticed that it didn't do it all the time, but sometimes when I had to go in and like change certain things in descriptions, it felt like my browser was lagging, because TubeBuddy is an extension that works on the front end, and it's a little taxing on your browser. And I didn't see enough value in it to keep using it. So I kind of stopped. Besides, I don't know how accurate their numbers were, because some videos that they said would do great and had a great score for SEO and not a lot of competition didn't do well at all. And then some videos that they said that were not good, and I went ahead and did them anyways, did way better than I had expected them to, according to their numbers. And at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything that's going to really tell you what the algorithm wants. You just kind of got to keep making stuff until it figures you out and the people that want to watch you. Yeah, I don't use social media. I do now, and I have to remember to try to post more often. I'm trying to get my IG going, and I'm taking pictures of my desk, because that's really like the only thing that I got that I can put on there that's not personal life, I guess. What's the difference between boot camp, code camp, or a regular coding course on YouTube? Well, I'm going to assume that from Code Camp, I'm assuming you mean free Code Camp, and a boot camp is, so boot camps are paid boot camps where you go to, well, now it's probably all online. And I actually have a video that I'm thinking about doing about boot camps, but a boot camp is a service that you pay, that you go to a building that they teach you how to code for, 6 hours a day for 3 months, or, however long their boot camp is. And then you're supposed to be able to get a job after that. And now a lot of those boot camps are online. So I was reading that many people are doing boot camps and they're pretty much learning how to code on their own and paying a boot camp to basically sign off on their work and give them a little bit of support, which I don't recommend. There's also boot camps that do like an income shared agreement. They're called ISAs, and they basically promise to place you at a job, but then they take a payment from you once you get a job, which in theory it sounds good, but some of them are a lot of money, and your payment is going to be a lot of money. And they don't promise to place you at a job that's going to pay you, $100,000 a year. They promise to place you at a job that might pay you 50, which 50 is a lot of money. And that's kind of what I made for my first job. But then you've got to pay them back like $20,000 in a short amount of time, and they're taking like $1,000 out of every paycheck of yours, which I don't know. It doesn't sound good to me, especially since most of the stuff you're going to learn you can do on your own. So let me go up. I see like a lot of questions have come through. And then Free Code Camp is a free website, freecodecamp.org. I always recommend that. It's a great place to start for web development. And then coding courses are just find a content creator who makes programming stuff on YouTube and watch their free stuff. And many of them have paid courses that go more in depth into a lot of the subjects that they cover. And many of these guys make really good stuff. And I've got a lot of content creators that I'm a fan of that I could recommend, but it's a long list, and maybe I should make a video on that. What are the best languages to learn to start with? Second year student in computer science, learning to code C. Basic stages want to become financial crisis, economic pit. I don't know. Python's a really good one. I usually recommend that, even though I don't write any Python. It's just a very easy to read language. It almost reads like just plain text, and it's very well supported. There's a ton of jobs in Python, and it's probably going to be one of the most beginner-friendly languages that you can learn. And Blitz actually answered that. So I just saw that. Sorry. I want to get some clarification from UI. I asked YouTube comments. I'll have to check the comments. I had a video that recently went crazy that I was not expecting to go crazy, and it's blown up my comments so much that it's made it kind of difficult for me to keep up with comments, because now I'm getting a lot and I just don't have the time to answer all of them. So I try to find the comments that are more based on my regular content that can help people. So, I just noticed there's like a little show button. I think I can show the question that you guys are asking here. Is there a book? Hold on, let me see. It's just look at that. Is that what I was trying to do? That's pretty cool. Look at that. I just learned something new. Okay, is there a book on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that you would recommend for beginners? I wasn't a big book learner. I've never really been a big book learner. I don't have one right off the top of my head that I can recommend. I know there's one that's really popular, and I forget what it's called, but it has like this like triangle diamond shape on the front that's like pink and green, and I don't know who makes it, but that's a really popular one. I read the JavaScript one of that, but I didn't do a lot of books. I did a lot of videos, and I did a lot of online resources that taught me. I prefer documentation too. If I did read something, it seems like if I'm going to learn a framework, I might as well go straight to their documentation before I go read a book on it. So Try. So Blitz again. So investing and drop shipping. So I do have some investments. I actually had to pull out some investments with COVID and all that. I have some stock investments. I invest in some cryptocurrency. I also, one of the main reasons why I started this YouTube channel was I built my first blog niche website early in January. And I invested a little bit of money into that to try to make a content site. It's not about programming. It's actually something completely different. And due to COVID, it's kind of taken a hit and it hasn't done as well as I'd hoped for it to do. And I'm deciding if I'm going to give it another year and try to contribute some more content to it and hire more writers, or if I'm going to just try to sell it and break even on it, because I'm invested into about like $5,000 on that website. And at this point, I could probably wash my hands of it, but I wanted to give it a little bit more time to see if things change in 2021 and the niche that I picked does a little bit better this year. So the best way that I would say, like, putting concepts and practice into application is just more practice. No matter how many books you read, no matter how many classes you take, no matter how many videos you watch, nothing beats building something on your own and trying to just suffer and struggle through the process of building something. I am guilty of this myself. When I was learning how to code, I spent probably the first, couple months reading a lot of stuff and watching a lot of videos, and I never started coding. I did a few tutorials, I followed along with them, and I would like copy and paste what they were doing. And while some of that stuff was kind of maybe sticking, it wasn't enough for me to really say that I was learning. I was probably in the beginning stages of learning. Had I started putting more of that stuff into practice from the beginning, I probably would have learned a lot faster and would have probably maybe got hired sooner than I did, or at least gotten through that first phase of trying to understand what's going on. Really, this stuff's complicated, and the only way that you're going to understand it is by building stuff and by putting all those concepts into practice. And you don't need to know every concept. The truth is, you don't need to know many concepts. You can just Google a lot of the stuff, and as long as you know what it is you're trying to do, just try to learn how you can structure a question for Google to find the right answer for what you're trying to do. So I would love to, but I don't have that kind of time. I struggle to make videos in the time that I have because I work a full-time job. So my schedule is I wake up in the morning and I try to get up early enough to help my wife a little bit with the kids in the morning. And then I go to work 9 to 5. And then after I work from 9 to 5, I get off, and then 5 to 9 is family time, help my wife with the kids, help with dinner, hang out with the family. And then when I put the kids to bed and help my wife put the kids to bed around 8 o'clock, then I get my YouTube time. But usually like 8 to 9, I hang out with my wife a little bit. So really I have like 9 o'clock and after. And what happens is I keep stretching it and I keep staying up later and later to the point where I'm just tired every day because I don't have enough time to even get the content that I want out. And challenge videos and learning like all this stuff in 1 week and like being able to commit like, hey, I'm going to do this all week long. I don't have that kind of schedule. My weekends are very much also family time as well. So the little bit of time that I do have, I just don't have enough time to say that I'm going to program all this stuff in 1 week, or, say for the next month, I'm going to learn Python. And if I do that, I'm not going to have any time to make a video on it. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, Christian, the truth is that you need to just kind of just just get in there, just start coding stuff, even if it doesn't make sense. And I know you've been talking about that a lot. I think I saw your comment recently that I think it was you that said that that you didn't know what the honeymoon phase was, that it's all been like hell the whole time. And it's I get it. I get where you're coming from. That's pretty rough, but that's just expected to how this is. Just try to keep working through your problems. And if you're struggling with certain things, the Discord server that I have has been pretty active. I'm not as active as I'd like to be on there, but I've noticed that there are some people on there that have been very active, like Crayboff has been really active on there. And there's a new user, Silly Billy, that they also mentioned Material UI in the Discord that we kind of covered in this video a little bit. And they've been very active on there, and people are kind of engaging and helping each other out and giving each other feedback. And I try to give feedback when I can, but again, it goes back to just not having enough time to keep up with everything. Well, what's up, Jordan? Jordan was actually a guest on one of my dev interviews, and unfortunately, when I did that stream, it fell off the face of the earth with Restream, the service that I used for it, and I lost a recorded copy of that. So I plan on having Jordan back on here in the near future, and probably just redoing that same stream, and hopefully get a new group of people to watch it and cover some of the questions that I'd asked him. He's a computer science student. He's got a cool channel. He's kind of tracking his progress with going to school and trying to get his computer science degree. So if you guys want to check out Jordan, the computer scientist, he's there in the chat. And Jordan, I don't know if it's going to block you if you try to drop your link for your channel, but you can if you'd like. Feel free to do that. Let me see here. In that deep understanding of concepts. No, absolutely not. You just have to have the desire to want to learn it. No one has a deep level of understanding for any of this stuff when they first get started. A deep level of understanding comes with years of practice and working on these things and learning about different intricacies of programming languages or just how things are built. You'll never get a deep understanding of stuff from reading books or watching videos. You just have to start working in that stuff to better understand it. Let me see. Oh. So I see that so what's the hardest part of becoming a web developer? I think the getting the first job would be the hardest part. I mean, you can learn web development and you can be a web developer without the title. If you start building websites and you learn HTML, CSS, a backend language, databases, and you learn all that stuff and you start building websites, you're a web developer. But to get that first job is probably the hardest thing that people have to go through. And it can be a process and it can take a lot of time. And I think that's what's discouraging the most people. And when we live in a kind of a day and age where people expect things to happen fast. And then there's a lot of advertisements that you'll see from different, ads that pop up that'll be like, oh, learn to code and get a job in 3 months, or learn to code and get a job in 6 months or in 9 weeks, or in all these different timeframes that a lot of the times aren't really realistic. So then people kind of set these expectations that they see these advertisements that say people get a job super fast. And some people do. And I know for a fact that I had someone that I worked with Enok and I, who got a job straight out of a boot camp. And he was a rare case. It's not the case for everybody. Even people who go to boot camps, they don't get hired right away. And when people see that and they feel like, oh man, I've been learning this stuff for 6 months and I haven't gotten a job, I'm just going to give up because I don't know enough and I'm not ready for a job and nobody's ever going to hire me. The truth is that you kind of just got to have this attitude about like, oh, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing this until somebody has no choice but to hire me. And I remember, I think I've mentioned this before, but I remember telling my wife that, and it sounds cocky and it sounds arrogant, but at one point I was at that stage where I was just like, well, I don't think this is going to happen. I've been doing this for, I think it was like 6 or 7 months. And I was like, I wasn't getting any calls on my applications. The stuff that I was building, I felt that didn't look good. And I felt like I didn't know enough. And I was thinking about going to a boot camp, but it wasn't really realistic for me to go to a boot camp. And I was just like, I had to work a full-time job and I had kids and I was in my 30s. And I'm like, I'm not going to go to college. I don't have that kind of time to go to get an associates of applied science degree. That would have been, 2 years for me to learn a lot of the stuff that I had already been learning. And I remember just telling my wife, well, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing this until somebody hires me. And eventually somebody hired me, luckily, but it took almost a year. It was like 10 months or so that from the minute I started coding to when I got a job, and I pretty much studied every single day and I built stuff and I just stuck with it. Really, that's the hardest part, is just sticking with it till you get a job. Here's Jordan's channel. I don't know if he had the friendly URL, but it's linked in the chat if you guys want to check out Jordan, the computer scientist. I'm going to have him back on the stream when I interview him again, probably, I don't know, maybe in the next month or so. I'm trying to figure it out. I have like a big list of things I want to do, but he was on the stream before and unfortunately that stream got lost, but check him out. He's got a pretty cool channel. Let me see. Yes, I am a full stack web developer with a heavy emphasis on front end development. Full stack is kind of like, it's a weird blurred line now, right? Because for instance, the stack that I work in is a Java backend. We use Spring Boot and Hibernate, and we use SQL database, and we use an Angular front end. The truth is, most of the Java stuff, we set up Hibernate to create entities to link to the database. And then I just do all my work in Angular and I pull the data from the front end and I send it to the back end, and almost all the code I write is just TypeScript and JavaScript for the most part. So I am a full stack developer, but I would say that I focus heavily on front end, and now more so the JavaScript side versus the HTML and CSS, because I've kind of been making that shift to be more full stack and front end engineer, or whatever name they want to call it. Why don't you make your own startup company logo? I guess that's kind of why I started this channel a little bit. It's to take me a little bit in that direction, but I don't have the time right now. I have a family, so having a job that pays well and brings in a steady paycheck and allows me to have, health insurance and benefits and all those things that you need when you kind of have a family, is really important to me right now. And if I was 25 years old and I didn't have kids and I didn't have a wife, I would be able to take a lot more risks than I can right now. So the safety of having a job is something that I pretty much need. But I've been working on the YouTube, and I've been working on kind of establishing branding and like a logo. I thought about making a logo, but it's just something that I'm not at that stage yet. And my channel has just started growing. 2 months ago, my channel was like at 2,000 subscribers, maybe less than that. And now I'm at 5, and it seems to be growing faster and faster every day. So maybe here in the next couple months, I might actually have to start considering those things. But for now, I'm just taking it one day at a time, and it's just a little side hustle for me. So should I get into? Okay, so if you want to get into web development, you're always going to pretty much have to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You don't need to become an expert in any of those things, but you want to start there. I would say focus on JavaScript first, because you're going to use it on the front end as well as on the back end if you decide to use a back end language like Node that uses JavaScript. So it will help you with not having too many programming languages to focus on when you start off. Once you learn a little bit of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then you can start thinking about building full stack applications and learning a backend language. At that point, you can start thinking about languages that you can use, and Python is a great language. You have Django, which is an amazing framework that uses Python, and there's a lot of Python jobs, and it's a good language to learn. But just remember, if you decide to learn 2 languages when you first get started, it's just going to add that much more complexity, and it's just going to be that much more difficult to learn 2 different languages. So I usually recommend people that want to get into web development to focus on JavaScript until they get comfortable enough with it, and you can build, you know, full stack applications with just 1 language, and that's really good for a beginner. So that'd probably be what I recommend. So what's this? Can someone freelance on the side to gain experience while working at their full-time job? So I did this a little bit, and it's kind of funny because I had the stream with Neil from Kodu community, and he was talking about like how he got his experience and how he got his first jobs and the way that he learned, and how you kind of got to do what you got to do to get those first jobs and get that experience. And a lot of my freelance work, me specifically, was me building websites for family members, me building websites for friends and friends of friends, and basically anybody that I could find that would let me build them something for free so I can call it freelancing work on my resume. Was a lot of my early freelancing stuff, because it's hard to get freelancing jobs when you don't have experience, unless you can make your portfolio look good enough and have a couple jobs that either you built your own websites and pass them off as someone else's, or you actually build some websites for other people for free or very cheap so you can get that experience in order to get real freelancing jobs. And then eventually I did get a few freelancing jobs, but at that point, I was doing it just to have a little experience, and I was still selling myself really short. And I found out really quickly that I did not enjoy that. And now I could probably make more money freelancing because of my skill level and the things that I'm able to do, but I have no desire in doing it because I don't want to have to go out and find clients. And if you're looking for work on like Upwork or freelancer.com, those places are a race to the bottom. It's whoever bids the cheapest on the job that usually gets it. And you'll find yourself doing a lot of work for very little money. So just a few things there, but you can get experience while you're working a full-time job. And if you can't find someone that'll give you experience, make your own experience. And that's kind of what I had to do with a lot of my early stuff that I built for my father-in-law, my brothers, or not my brother, I don't have a brother, but my buddy's sister, who was a hairdresser. I built her website. And just be warned, if you build people free stuff, they're going to want you to keep working for free later on. So that's just a little disclosure there. Let me see. What are your suggestions for a student like me? What can tell me our online resources and follow for everyone? There's just so many. I would say just pick what you want to work on and try to decide whether you want to be an application developer, if you want to be a web developer, if you want to go into machine learning, if you want to be building desktop applications. There's just so many paths to take. And once you figure out like, okay, this sounds really cool to me, just start Googling the resources for that, start YouTubing it, and you'll start finding more people that are experienced in those areas. So if you say you wanted to learn machine learning, start Googling and YouTubing machine learning, and you'll find many people that will direct you in the right path for whichever one you decide to pick. How to get into companies when most of the developers are from computer science background. I think that's a misconception. Now, if you're talking about FANG companies like Amazon, Apple, and all of those people, and Google, yeah, you're going to have a lot more people that come from a computer science background. But the truth is, if you want to get into any of those places that I mentioned, just get really good at algorithms. That's because that's all they're going to test you for. And you can learn algorithms online. I suck at algorithms. I hate them, and I hate them because I'm not good at them, not because I hate them for any particular reason. I also dislike them a lot because it's kind of set a standard for how they gauge a developer and their technical ability. And the truth is that even if you're really good at algorithms and you only study algorithms, but you've never built a application from beginning to end or have real world experience, the fact that's more heavily on your knowledge of algorithms versus those other things is kind of why I don't like them, because they become an industry standard. But if you could, I think Elon Musk, I said it in one of my videos, he said he doesn't even care if you graduated high school, if you have an understanding of machine learning and stuff like that, that he'll hire you at Tesla. So it's one of those things where computer science degrees are, they still hold a lot of value and you learn a lot of good stuff. But companies that you think only hire computer science graduates, it's not always the case. They will hire you if you're good at passing their interview process. And to get good at that, it's mostly whiteboarding and algorithms that you'll have to get good at. Oh, that wasn't a question, that was a response. Build awesome projects. All right, I'm trying to catch up to the chat here, sorry. So if you want to get job ready, the Odin project or Free Code Camp, I'm always saying Free Code Camp because I use that quite a bit, the Odin project too. Those two websites are 100% free. They focus mostly on web development and they cover the very basics all the way up until getting a job. And they have big sections on interview prep and applying for jobs and all that stuff. So I'm always going to go back to those two resources because I think that it's suitable for anyone who wants to try it out because it's free and it's good. So the Odin project and Free Code Camp, I also have a video on kind of me talking about what I think about the two of those. And if you don't want to watch it, it basically says that I think both of them are good and you should just pick one or use them both if you want. So I'd rather not disclose the exact company I work for, but I work for a state company, and what I work on is an application that's used to assess people for disability and elderly people for their benefits. I talked about this earlier. I got hired on a project that's for the next 3 years that's going to be taking a very old Java application with a SQL database, and we're moving it over into a modern Java application for the web, which is using Java, Spring, SQL, and Angular on the front end. So it's a big modernization project. I'm on a team of developers, a small team of developers, and I've been there for 1.5 years now, and it's been great. I love it. It's a really good job. The thing is that a lot of people feel like if you don't get into Google or like a big company, you're not going to be challenged and you're not going to be solving real world problems. And the truth is that every company, every application you build, they all have very similar problems. They all have end users that need certain things, and you need to build an application that is going to meet those needs. And you have to find the best way to build it, the most efficient way to build it, and the most user-friendly way to build it, also the fastest way to build it. So many of those things that you run into at a big company, you're going to run into at a smaller company. Now, if you work for like a mom and pop shop that's building like WordPress sites and stuff like that, you might not work in that kind of development environment. But as long as you're working in a modern stack and you're facing a lot of similar issues that most companies are going to be facing. And the truth is, when it's a little bit smaller, it's a little better because you don't have, there's thousands of developers at Google, thousands, and that they have good process in place. But at the end of the day, you don't have much say in what you're building versus like the company I work for. Our team is small and there's a lot of developers on other teams because we're not the only team of developers there. And I work in a department that's completely run by developers all the way up until the director, who was a developer 20 years ago that built the application that I'm modernizing now. So they know the process, they understand everything that goes into it, and there's a lot of respect for the craft, which can be lost in some companies who just don't care about code and just want the stuff to get done as fast as possible, which that's a whole video in itself. What else do I got here? You can learn big data now. Don't wait. I don't know anything about big data. I'm a web developer, so I don't have much that I can tell you there, but find what you need to get good at that and start studying that. That's like I said earlier, if you know what area of development you want to get into, just start Googling what you need to learn to get that. If the first thing is learning Python, go learn Python. If it's learning about databases or other stuff that pertains to big data, then go learn that, and then just keep marking those things off of your checklist until you've learned enough to start looking for jobs and building projects that revolve around what you're trying to do. And if big data is what you want to do, then kind of focus on those things and search those things. I see it's midnight. I'm going to probably cut this in like 10 minutes because the stream is over 2 hours now and I'm getting tired and delirious. So forgive me if I sound tired and just keep rambling. So when you start making enough money from YouTube to support your family, then leave your job and take the risk to learn new skills. Well, I don't know if that'll happen, because the trajectory that I have planned for my YouTube channel, if all goes as planned, I will be probably learning more skills based around development. And since that's kind of what I'm focusing on for my YouTube channel, I feel that I will learn new skills, especially when I start doing tutorials and whatnot, because that's going to be a lot of stuff that I can learn new things and start talking about that on the channel. And it'll still be in the same umbrella of things that I know now. I'll just be able to make my money with not having to go to a job, but I'll still be able to do it with development and then branching out into other ways of making money. So. Should it start with Python or Java? All right, if I had to pick between Python and Java, and I work in Java and I worked in Kotlin, which is a superset of Java at my first job, I would not pick Java as a first language. I know that many times that's a first language that they offer in college and they suggest in college, and that's the first language that a lot of people get into. But Java is just a very verbose language with a lot of boilerplate, and just to write a simple variable, you have to write the types and just all this extra stuff that you have to write for a method in Java. And it's just a lot of extra stuff that you need to learn when you're just trying to learn what an if statement is or what a for loop is, and adding all that extra boilerplate and all the extra complexity that you have to learn with Java versus Python. I would say that Python is more beginner friendly, and you don't have to learn HTML and CSS. If you want to go web, I would say learn those first, but it's not necessary. You don't have to go web. You can learn other things, and learning Python or Java transfer over to a lot of other areas besides web development. Just web development's really popular right now because of the internet growing as much as it has, and as much as it keeps growing, it's just more and more web dev jobs are out there. And it's also, I think, a lower barrier to entry for getting a job. Web dev always seems to kind of be what's considered the easier of the fields of development to get into. But that's not necessarily true, because application development, if you want to build mobile apps, you can learn Java or Kotlin for Android development. Or if you want to go with iOS development, then you would learn Swift, and then that's kind of all you have to learn for that. So it really just depends what you want to do. It's funny that's a question that we're categorizing for Americans, because I don't think people do. I think that it takes people a lot to switch, and I don't think that's a geographical thing. I think maybe it may be different in other countries, because I'm ignorant to that, because I don't live in a different country. But I know that the transition for people to switch between careers is usually very hard, and I did it in a different way, because I went from a regular run-of-the-mill, customer service job to programming, which was a very a very big step up for me. It wasn't kind of like a sideways step where I was in finance and then I decided to learn how to code, or I was a mechanical engineer and I learned how to code. No, I parked cars and I learned how to code, which it wasn't like a switch of professions, because I guess I didn't really have a profession to begin with. I just had a job. But the switch came hard either way, and making that commitment is very hard for people. Like if you were a lawyer right now in America and you wanted to become a programmer, that's a hard switch for most people, because a lawyer is probably going to be making good money. They're probably going to have a lot of time invested in their career and building their reputation and building up everything that they've worked for. And if they're just burnt out of it, they might not switch just because it's very difficult to do. But if you want to do something because you're just miserable doing what you're doing now, then you make that decision and you have to decide, all right, well, am I gonna not be able to pay the bills because I'm not gonna make as much money if I'm a lawyer and I make $100,000 a year, but I get an entry-level web developer job and now I'm gonna make 50 or 60 and I'm taking a 50% pay cut. That's a hard decision. So I wouldn't say that it's easy or quickly, or I would say it's not quick to change professions, and definitely not easy. If that was the case, then you would have somebody somewhere already that would have done it. I don't think anybody knows the YouTube algorithm, not even the people that worked on the algorithm. I think it's something that takes in a lot of different factors, and it's probably way more complex and maybe even way more simple than most people think it is. At the end of the day, I think the YouTube algorithm is just keep making content and make sure your content's better, and focus on things that get people to click on your videos, and focus on things that keep people watching your videos. I don't think it's that complex, but I'm sure that there's a lot that goes into it that no one person can figure that out, because it was probably written by a team of engineers that had to write that whole thing out. So. Yes, and that's why I go back to suggesting that as a good first language for people, especially if you're going web development, because it's kind of a language that you're going to have to learn anyways, if you're going web dev, and then you can move into using it for the back end after you've done some front end stuff, and you can use it on a framework on the front end, and you can focus on front end development. Or if you later on want to become a backend developer or a full stack developer, you could pick up Node.js. Now Dino is like the big craze, and it uses TypeScript, which is also a superset of JavaScript. And it had a lot of hype when it came out, and it kind of died out. And everybody was saying that was going to be the Node.js killer, but now you don't really hear too much about it. But that's another backend option that uses JavaScript. It uses TypeScript, but it's JavaScript. You can write TypeScript with no types, but then why use TypeScript? It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I know you're in the Discord group, and I know that from all the streams that you've been watching that I have been in, and you see everyone is talking about Next.js, and I have kind of jumped on the bandwagon of like, I want to check it out. So I mentioned it in this video that I'm thinking about doing DorianDevelops.com and building that out, and I have been looking at Next.js to maybe spin that up, because since I do eventually want to possibly sell product and possibly sell courses, and I don't know what I'm going to sell, but I know that I can't just build a static website for Dorian Develops. And I keep hearing so many good things about Next.js and how easy it is to spin up an application with it. But the fact is that I write Angular all the time, and I haven't touched React in like almost 2 years. So it would be me going back and learning React. And I really like TypeScript, and I can use TypeScript with Next.js, but I don't know how much of a pain it is to use it with Next.js, because I haven't looked into Next.js that deeply. And I don't know if it's as simple as just selecting TypeScript as a default when I spin up a basic application on there, or if I'm going to have to go in there and just add some typing and massage it a little bit to use TypeScript. I don't know how well it works with that, but I don't think that I would build a big application without TypeScript nowadays. So I'm leaning to maybe doing it in Next.js, or maybe just doing it in JHipster, which is the stack that I work in. I would actually do it in KHipster, which is Kotlin instead of Java. That's the two that I'm between right now, Jordan. So if you're curious about Next.js, I plan on building my new website possibly in it. Maybe, don't know yet. I'm telling you, it's not my setup. I have a pretty darn good MacBook Pro. I mean, it's entry level, but it's got all the specs that, like, it's an application that runs on your front end. So all it uses is RAM, and I have plenty of RAM to be able to run it. The fact is, it just bogged down my machine, and I did not find the value in it. I used it for a month, and I used it as much as I could, and I made probably 10 videos or more based off of the statistics that I was getting from TubeBuddy. And I just, it's not. I know what I need to do to blow up, and I don't want to do it. I need to jump on the bandwagon of doing a day in the life videos and doing all those popular videos that everybody watches. And I don't like those kind of videos. So I'd rather do it my way than kind of jumping on the trendy stuff that I know that I don't really want to do just to get views. I'd rather take my time and build the audience that I want based off of the stuff that I want to make, and not just try to get subscribers. If I wanted to get subscribers, all I had to do right now is make more White Hat Junior videos. That video blew up, and I don't want to make another one of them because it's not my kind of content. And all the experts tell you to, capture lightning in a bottle. And if something gets you a lot of views, to keep repeating that process. And I don't want to make another video of that because it's not what my channel is about. And I kind of regret making that video, even though it got me like 1,500 subscribers in the last week and a half. I don't want to keep making the same video about stuff I don't want to talk about. So yeah. Do you have any Indian developer friends? I actually work with quite a few different Indian developers. My boss is Indian, and there's on another team that I work with, there's a few Indian people there, men and women that work on that team. One of the testers that's on my team, she's Indian. So there's actually in development, you definitely run into a lot of Indian people. At least from my experience, I've worked with quite a bit of Indian people, and I do like me some Indian food too. So. Yeah, unfortunately, Jordan, I swear, like, I'm so torn because on one hand, I totally am like, oh, I want to get so many views, but on the other hand, it's just not what I want to do. It's not. I was thinking of maybe doing an interview with the developer that's in the lawsuit, because I am doing developer interviews, and I thought that maybe that might be good to do. But again, I feel that the subscribers that I'm getting from that content aren't going to stick around to watch the stuff that my channel is mostly about. And I would rather not have a big growth of subscribers who aren't going to watch my videos, my next 10 videos. And I don't know, it's weird because I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I know if I keep riding that wave, I can make my channel grow very fast, but it's not what I want to do. And I don't want to just grow my channel full of like viewers that aren't here for all of my content. They're just here for 2 videos or 1 video, so. Because at the end of the day, I want to do this for the reasons why I started to do this. And if I was just chasing subscribers, I I don't know if I'd be happy afterwards, because then that means I am trapped into making a certain type of video for the rest of my YouTube career. And it's not what I want to do. If you look at my channel, my content's all over the place. And the only thing that I've been consistent on is doing like learning how to code and how I became a programmer and all that stuff. That's probably the bulk of my content, but I do have a few little random videos here and there where I talk about my niche website. I have a few of like my current videos where I talk about some of the gear in my office, and I've been doing a little bit of different stuff, but I'm not necessarily just doing that for subscribers and views. I'm doing that because it's the stuff I want to do. And I made the white hat video pretty much for subscribers and views because I saw that it was trending. I looked around and I saw that there was only a few videos on it and it had a bunch of views on it. And then I saw that it was an interesting topic because it was kind of crazy what was going on there and the lawsuit and like just the whole thing about it. So I was like, let me make a video on it. And I was expecting to get a couple thousand views, maybe at that. And when I saw that thing shoot up to like 20,000 views in the first day or two, I was just like, oh man, this is not what I expected, because I just didn't think that it was going to have that kind of reaction. Because now I feel like if I make another one of those videos, then I'm going to make another one, and then eventually I'm going to become a channel that exposes scams and talks about bad CEOs. And that's not what my channel is about. But if I keep making those videos, that's what my channel will become. And then I will be miserable doing this. And I am doing this so I'm not miserable doing it. I want to do this for fun and as a side hustle. So we need to study algorithms and so we were just kind of talking about this. For web development jobs, no and yes. Some companies are going to test you on it because they don't know a better way to weed out potential employers or employees. But for the most part, you don't need data structures and algorithms to become a web developer. But they will help you, and they're not bad to learn. I made a video that I actually cover this, where I say like you don't need data structures and algorithms to become a web developer. And I talk about how I never had to do any of them, and both of my jobs I got without having to do data structures and algorithms. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of value in them, but it's also has to do with like there's a broken interview system, and in web development you just don't use them that much. But from doing data structures and algorithms, you kind of understand how to work logic and code. And if you're able to not just whiteboard algorithms, but to actually code out algorithms, then when you come across a problem in web development where you need to move some data around and you need to manipulate stuff and you need to like build your own algorithm to figure out how you're going to move certain data from one place to another, or whatever you need to do, you'll understand how to better structure your logic, and you'll understand how to write your code in order to kind of get it to do things for you. But you don't absolutely need it for web development. But I work for a company I like. I have a great job. I have union. I'm a union employee, which is very rare for developers. I have a amazing benefits package. I have an awesome pension plan that I will be fully vested in 3 more years, which I plan on getting to that point, because having that full investment into my pension will be really good. I'm already 2 years in and I get fully vested at 5 years, which I plan to do that as my 5-year goal. And right now I don't take any work home with me. There's a great work-life balance. I do my 8 hours a day and I'm done, and I get paid a really good salary. And then I have extra time to hang out with my family and just do what I want, do YouTube and do all the things that I want, because I don't have a stressful job and I don't work for a company that makes me work on my free time. And I'm good. I'm in a sweet spot right now where I have the time to work on my outside side goals that I have for the next few years. So then when I'm 40, because I'm 36 now, and my plan is to, when I hit 40, then I can go into like building my own company and doing all that stuff, because that's when my kids will be older and they'll be in school. My kids are really young right now, and they're at like a good age where it's good for me to have the stability that I have and be able to have the job that I have for them. And I have like a big grand scheme, but like I'm in no hurry. And I saw that you mentioned that you were younger, and I think that that might be something to do with being young. When you get older, you realize things take time, and I'm not desperate to get out of my 9 to 5 right now. It's part of my plan, my 5-year plan, which if you really are 13, 5 years to a 13-year-old is a very long time. 5 years to a 36-year-old is not a long time. Trust me. Christian, thank you. Christian is a newly crowned moderator here. I just dropped it on him. I appreciate Christian. He's been around for a minute now, and he's always commenting on stuff, and he's been super helpful with a lot of things. So thank you, Christian. Are there jobs in the public sector available for devs? I'm currently a federal employee. I'm actually a state employee, and there are a lot of jobs for developers in the public sector. You just have to look for them, but they are there. And honestly, from my experience with the current job that I'm in, it was one of the better application and interview processes that I went through compared to other companies like startups. And I interviewed at Fortune 500 companies. I had an offer for Allegiant Airline that I ended up turning down for this job that I took for working for the state. And it as much as people like to make fun of the state not having their stuff in order and being a mess, particularly Washington State where I work, it was one of the better processes, and it was also a remote interview process, which went even better. And a lot of the questions that they asked me were questions that you would expect, and just the whole thing, I was pretty happy about it, because you always hear that state jobs and working for the state is ridiculous, and it was actually really good. And the way it's set up, if you're a federal employee now, you might even be able to make a move somehow by already having been an employee with them. You might be able to like apply within, and it might actually make it easier for you to land your first job, especially with a lot of state and federal jobs and government jobs. Many of the times they have levels, and they're willing to accept more entry-level people. I know currently my job is opened up to entry-level applicants, and the qualifications are very, very what you should expect from an entry-level applicant, not ridiculous. We want 5 years experience in every framework for a junior developer. It's actually like, it's something that if you read the job description, you'd be like, that is what I would expect people to ask for from a entry-level junior dev. So it's just something to think about. If you are a federal employee right now, it might be a good option for you to kind of look within your branch or wherever you work at to see if they're looking for developers. And if not, see what areas you can move to that might take your experience with the current sector that you're in. So I think if I don't stop talking, I will never stop talking. So I don't know if I think I just got to wrap this up. Let me, I'll answer this last question. So do you suggest any tips to earn money online using tech and programming like that? Start a blog, start a YouTube channel. I don't know. I don't make much money online. I make a little bit of money on my YouTube channel, and I make a little bit of money on my blog. But you don't have to be an expert in things to talk about it or make videos on it. And really, I know that Jordan, he's documenting his process right now of being a computer science student. And many of his videos are just him kind of showing you what he's learning. And eventually, once he's able to meet his milestones for monetization, he can make a little bit of money on his channel. And he's not an expert; he's just learning. Because in this day and age, a lot of times people want to see the process, and people want to just kind of watch someone that they can relate to. I know that Chow Codes, he's blowing up. The dude's just killing it right now. He's on Instagram. His YouTube channel's doing really good. The dude's learning how to code. I don't think he's actually a programmer, like officially. I don't think he has a job as a programmer, but he's just showing everybody him coding. He's doing live learning and live coding and like all this different stuff. And I know for a fact that he's probably making decent money already. And I don't think he's worked a day as a developer yet, but he's tracked his progress, he's tracked his process, and he's been documenting it the whole way. So that's a good way to kind of make money as you learn, without having to be an expert in any tech. And all the tutorials I plan on doing, many of them, might be things that I'm not an expert in. It's going to be things that I'm learning, and I'm going to research well enough to be able to explain it to someone. And that's the approach I'm going to take. I'm also going to cover things that I'm good at, but there's going to be a lot of things that I want to learn that I'm going to make tutorials on, just so I can make tutorial videos and learn something new and then explain it to other people, because you learn a lot by explaining to people. So yeah. With all that said, thank you everybody that was here. Thank you for stopping by and watching this. I like these live streams. I like answering questions. Eventually, I'm going to start doing some more stuff on my live streams, because I like doing the interviews, but there's other things that I want to do. I'm just not sure if I can stream them yet, or if they'll turn out to be good streams. And I don't want to have to focus on something that I'm trying to like build an application, or if I'm trying to like walk through a tutorial and then have to like answer people in the comments and have to pay attention to the stream, because I already have a bad tendency of forgetting that there's people here. If you watched the stream earlier, you'll notice that there was times when I was like, oh man, I forgot that people are asking questions and I need to like interact with people. So I'm still trying to get more comfortable with streaming before I start doing other things on them. So I'll probably just keep doing interviews for the time being, and maybe some more Q&As. Maybe I'll review some portfolios. Maybe if you have ideas for what you want me to stream, just drop them in the comments, and join the Discord and hit me up on social media at Dorian Develops, or all my social media accounts. So yeah, with all that said, thanks for watching. I'm tired. I'm falling asleep. Thanks for watching. I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll see everybody next time. Peace.